Welcome to The Naked Truth. And now, your host, Bridget Barclay.
Good evening, guys, and a very good early morning here in England, as I always say, because it's 1 a.m. here for me. Welcome to The Naked Truth on Annex Radio, and my guest tonight is Nick Pope. Now, I don't think you really need any explanation and any bios read, but for those that haven't come across Nick, which, come on, please. Nick was a part of the British government UFO project from 91 to 94, and has researched and investigated many alien and UFO abductions, including myself. So Nick works on Ancient Aliens Live, has done and produced lots of TV shows, and has been a part of so many documentaries. He is super, super popular. He is the real Fox Mulder. And Nick and me started our journey together 28 years ago when he helped me with my case, and is still helping me with my case. And I'm forever, ever grateful to him. So I'm just going to lead in Nick Pope. Hello, Nick. Hello, my friend.
Hi there, B. Yeah, I can reconnect with you.
Yeah, this is our part 2. So you actually was on my very, very first podcast for here for the Annex Radio. And because it was our introduction of how we met and my experiences, and you taking me to Bud Hopkins in New York and doing hypnosis. So, it's 28 years, Nick. That's quite something.
Yeah, time flies. Of course, I was just recently in New York City for a year. And actually, at one point, I walked down. Now, I don't have it in front of me, but I, off the top of my head, want to say it was West 16th Street where Bud lived. And it's now apartments. The old brownstone is gone. So, yeah.
Well, we had absolutely amazing times in New York. Actually, it was absolutely wonderful. But yeah, for you to be living there for a year with Elizabeth must have been it's an experience in itself. And obviously, you were right opposite the Empire State and living the full life, whilst doing your Ancient Aliens Live here, there, and everywhere. And that's hugely successful. Well done, a huge well done to you.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the TV show's been going for about 20 seasons or whatever it is. There are different ways of counting them. But we've been doing the live show since May 2022. Started off just doing 4 shows as a trial to see how it worked. People loved it. And I think we've done over 70 now. And I just came back. We did 3 shows in Florida just after the hurricanes, actually, Helene and Milton. So we weren't even sure that we were going to get there, but we reached out to the local venues. They reached out to the local community and said, look, we want to be respectful of what you'd like to do. Do you want to come or not come? And they said, please have them come. We got hit, but we're rebuilding. We want a little bit of fun and something to really bring a bit of joy to our lives. Florida is hugely strong and resilient, but we did a show in Orlando, show in Fort Lauderdale, and a show in Clearwater. And Clearwater had been hit hardest of the 3.
So as in audience-wise, what is the audience size?
Oh my goodness, it varies according to the
venue.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had the lowest we've had recently has been about 600, something like that.
That's really good, though. Gosh,
the highest, yes, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The highest, probably around, between 1,800 and 2,000. Lots of full houses. I mean, obviously, some of the venues, don't have the capacity. And if you fill a venue of like 800, 900, 1,000, very often we'll sell those out. And a full house just has a unique energy of its own, and buzzing, and people are really up for it, and we have fun with it too. It's we aim to educate, inform, and entertain.
I see you said that sentence a few times. As you say. So now, well, it's now good for you to be home on, on your home turf until you go off again. And obviously, I know that, thank you again for doing tonight's interview. But I know that you're inundated with doing radio shows and other guest appearances.
Yes. I get so many requests. I have to turn most of them down. But of course, how could how could I turn down an old friend? So
exactly.
Happy to be back on the show. But as you say, I'm here for a few days, then I'm off again. I've got a couple of conferences coming up, some more filming for the next season of Ancient Aliens. We've been renewed, of course. Yes. And then the next run of Ancient Aliens live shows is, I think we've got 4 shows in first week of December. I think let's see, Illinois, Wisconsin. Anyway, there's a website, ancientalienslive.tour.com. You can see what we're up to and come and see us.
Okay, well, why don't you come and see us here in England? Is there any news for that? Can you do that?
We would love to come to the UK. We would love to take this all around the world. I mean, every time we post the venues of our new shows, people say, come to England, come to Canada, come to Australia. Obviously taking a show internationally is more difficult, the logistics and things, but we would love to come to the UK. And I really hope that we will make it happen. I mean, conversations take place about this sort of thing all the time. So let's keep everything crossed.
It would be absolutely bonkers if you didn't, considering, you are the man from the Ministry of Defence and you're here in England. So, you have to bring it back home, really, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
You owe it to yourself and many others over here. So, obviously, there's quite a few documentaries coming out at the moment. So you've got Netflix is doing one, Alien with George Knapp, and James Fox is doing a documentary called The Program. Were you involved with any of those?
I was involved with the program, James. I came back to the UK, actually, as you know.
Sneaky.
We did the Awakening conference in Manchester, and then James, of course, was a speaker there. Got the Lifetime Achievement Award.
I know. I broke my phone. I got up and applauded, and my phone smashed on the floor. If I remember.
Right. But richly deserved award. And while I was there, in the margins of that conference, we slipped off, found a suitable filming venue, and I recorded something. So I'm going to be talking about the Calvin incident, the great photograph case. Right. So expect that. I know he's talking to various distributors and I'm not sure he has an exact release date yet, but the movie is called The Program, and it's going to be great. Yeah, as are all his programs.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is sort of like, to get you back here, it would be, let's say 28 years ago, when we used to be in our curries and going to the Crystal shop in Wimbledon and having a laugh back in the days. I didn't foresee it was going to go this way. I don't know if you foresaw it was going to go this way. And we had a little term for it, didn't we? Do you want to say what our little term was for all the crystal stuff?
Oh, no, you can say it.
Oh, we used to call it ying tong, didn't we? Sort of like ying tong. So, because it was all very love and light. But actually, right now, the diversity of ufology now, you do obviously have the old channelers, you have the new channelers, you have the experiencers that are talking very openly and wanting to disclose a lot more that has happened to themselves. I, as you know, have held a lot of my things back. But I feel now that there is a time where I feel more comfortable to talk about, not just the LA freeway and not just about, it's like like when we went to Bud Hopkins and we did the hypnosis, I want to be able to talk about that, and to, you know, Dolores's hypnosis, and you know, so now I feel, because other people are doing it, I feel it's kind of the right time. So it isn't so ying tong like we used to call it.
It's not, and you're right to say that. I mean, ufology is a very, I hate to use this phrase, but a broad church. There's the New Age wing, the channeling, the space brothers and space sisters are coming here to save humanity, and then there's a kind of almost like the dark side to it all, very much. And that's, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but me, obviously, I'm being ex-government, I'm more involved and interested in the defense, national security, and safety of flight implications of this, the UFOs tracked on satellite, picked up on radar, those sorts of things. And so obviously there is this New Age community, and I've spoken many times, in fact, earlier this year at the Ozark Mountain UFO conference, which of course was always Dolores Cannon's.
Dolores Cannon's, yeah, that's right, yeah.
So I'm familiar with both sides, if I can call it that. But obviously, in terms of my own knowledge and experience, I tend to speak more to the government side. And just to kind of emphasize that point, as you can probably tell, maybe I should have turned the light on, but the sun is setting here, so I'm getting dark.
Oh, the dark side.
By the end of this interview, I'm going to be a real life man in black.
Well, that's another story in itself. But yeah, why? What time's it over there? You're like, what are you? 5, 6 o'clock?
5:15 here, but the sun's just gone down, and even since we've begun this interview, I can tell that the light's dropped.
Oh, well.
But you know, and I wasn't looking at the sunset time, so didn't bother breaking out the ring light. But yeah,
I've got mine.
Yeah, you can just say I'm mean and moody and darkly lit.
Well, I think if anyone watches part 1 that we did, you could barely see me. You know, it was like I had nothing set up, but now I've obviously geared up for it. So obviously, like I say, 30 years ago, it wasn't totally different. Funny enough, I spoke to Brenda Butler a couple of weeks ago on the phone, and she's going to be coming on, which is really, really nice. And I don't think it really has changed, except for that people are more honest and more open and are willing to speak now, because it's a bit like the ripple effect. It takes someone to say something to be able to say, you know what, like for me, actually, I want to say a little bit more.
Well, I think 2 things have fundamentally changed. You're right. A lot has stayed the same. And sometimes one feels in this subject that we're just reinventing the wheel.
Right.
But 2 things I think have fundamentally changed. First, we are now in absolutely 24/7 news cycle. And with social media, if a story breaks, it's out there in an instant.
That's right.
And you know, people talk about UFO Twitter, now I guess UFO X, but something happens and everyone knows about it almost within an instant. So that's one thing. The second thing that's changed, of course, is that in the United States, we are in a fundamentally different environment. I mean, of course, when you and I first met and discussed all this, the official position of the US government was nobody's interested in UFOs anymore.
Absolutely.
Hasn't been a program since the end of '69 when Project Blue Book closed. Now we know about ATIP and ORSAP. We know about the US Navy videos. We've had congressional hearings. There are more to come. We've had reports from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The Pentagon now has a unit set up, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So that's new. That level of official engagement is new.
I mean, I got in touch with you obviously because I had a witness support group, but I got in touch with you because my encounter involved military helicopters and a Men in Black car, in '93, and obviously now you've got the military now. Have acknowledged, that they have craft and beings. I mean, I don't think that, generally people within, the UFO circle, obviously, say, yeah, about bloody time, but to the general other public, no, it's still dismissed. But I know still that there would be a report there for my encounter on the freeway, and you have been back to where I actually had my encounter, which is really quite cool.
Yes, I mean, my goodness, I've stayed there.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I stayed there when I filmed James Fox's previous films, but I'm in LA every few weeks for filming, and I often drive down is it the 405 or the 101? I can't remember.
It's the 101 and 405, yeah. So it's the 101 going at Brentwood.
Yeah, and the old Holiday Inn, of course. This is what we're talking about for those people, watching who don't know that wonderful old, every time you see it, you sort of think you're in a James Bond movie back in the 60s or something.
Yeah, it is quite iconic. And also, funny enough, isn't it? Do you remember Lisa Royal Priest, the channeler? She had her encounter exactly at the same place as me. I think you told me that, and you put me in contact with Lisa.
Yeah. My goodness, yes.
Yeah, she did right at the Holiday Inn as well. So whether it be a hot spot, I don't know, but that was quite bizarre because she's written and authored so many books, and she teaches channeling. She does all of the Ying Tong New Age conferences and everything. So that was 30 years ago. So to now, so give us a sort of like rundown. Like, let's say last year, obviously the congressional hearings, a lot had gone on. Now, where do we lie now? Obviously, because you've got the politics and you've got election over in the States coming up. What are we talking about now?
Okay, well, I'd like to kind of name check, I guess, three things.
Okay.
Firstly, the election.
You are going dark. You are going dark now.
Yes. Secondly, the rumors. Well, they're not rumors. The story that broke about this classified program called Immaculate Constellation. Mm-hmm. And thirdly, I want to circle back and talk again about the next round of congressional hearings. Mm-hmm. Why don't I go and should I go and turn the light on just so that...
then people know that you're there. Yeah, okay, if you want to. Go on then.
Hold on a moment.
Let there be light.
Yes, hold on.
There we go.
All right.
There we go. Yeah, go for it.
Now I'm not so... Well, I'm a little washed out, but I guess better washed out than washed up.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. So you're always good with the lines. Go on then.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Which order do you want those in? Those three.
Whichever you think's appropriate.
Okay. Let's start with Immaculate Constellation. This one's really interesting. The journalist Michael Schellenberger, very well connected. I mean, he's got. I can't remember whether it's 1 million or 1.5 million followers on X, but he's a very, very bright, hugely well-connected individual. He ran a story in the last few days saying that they've sources have indicated to him the name of this program. And of course, for years, we've heard these rumors about legacy intelligence community programs on crash retrievals and reverse engineering. Dave Grush has testified about it under oath in Congress, but we never had the name of the program. I even think we might have discussed this. I said there are three things that Congress needs if they're going to find out about an illegal off-the-books program. I said they need the name of the program, the agency or company that's running it, and the name of the director. And armed with those 3 pieces of information, Congress can find out an awful lot. But we didn't know the program name. Then Michael Schellenberger put it into the public domain that it's Immaculate Constellation.
Great operation name. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Usually with classified programs, the names are randomly selected. They come off a computer. That's so that you don't inadvertently give away any clues.
Well, it's the most obvious one, isn't it? But it's funny.
Yeah, that's the point. You see, this is clearly Immaculate Constellation is not a random name. Now,
AI depict it.
Well, at first you might think that proves that the whole thing isn't real. But then, if you think about it, if this is an illegal off-the-books program, the rule book goes out of the window, and these people enjoy kind of toying with people. If you look at some of the patches that certain space missions and agencies have, remember the arrow patch with the flying saucer on it? It's like these people are toying with the public.
Yeah.
So Immaculate Constellation, clearly not random. Constellation, the stars, and the similarity between Immaculate Constellation and Immaculate Conception immediately draws one's attention to religion, human origins, and, dare I say it, ancient astronaut theory, the idea that the old gods created us, are watchers, and now the ancient gods are returning.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, right.
So, you think of ancient aliens, you think of the Marvel universe, and I don't know if you've even seen the movie, but if you watch the trailer for the Eternals, that's ancient astronaut theory.
Okay. So obviously you've got Graham Hancock, haven't you? Doing your, so that's just perfect right now, doing the Ancient Alien tour.
Graham Hancock is doing his Ancient Apocalypse and pushing back the timeline of human history. A few years ago, mainstream academics were like, no, this is all nonsense.
Doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now we know through sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey that human civilization has been pushed back from I don't know, sort of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years with the Sumerians through to like 12,000 years old. What's next? So anyway, I've gotten a little off topic, but Immaculate Constellation is obviously like something that a lot of people are talking about. That leads me very nicely to the second of the 3 stories, the next congressional hearing. Because it's inconceivable that Congress won't ask about this. Michael Schellenberger is very well connected. People know that he has very good sources. Congress has had classified briefings, but also open public hearings. The one I mentioned with David Grush, but also Ryan Graves and David Fravor. So Congress will ask about Immaculate Constellation, and it was thought that we might get the next congressional hearing on November 13th. That would be the House Oversight Committee. I mean, obviously, in the US, in Congress, we have both the Senate and the House.
It's about 30 days' time then.
However, and this is the third story, there is the small matter of arguably the most impactful and contentious presidential election in the history of the United States. In 12 days as we speak. So I am not sure that this congressional hearing, originally scheduled for November 13th, is going to take place. Now, it was going to be, as I say, House Oversight Committee. Nancy Mace, I believe, was going to be leading it. We'll see what happens, but a lot of political commentators believe that the election is going to be very close. We may have not all the results in on the night. We may have legal action again, disputed result. So don't be surprised if the November 13th congressional hearing doesn't go ahead. Having said that, it might. We just don't know.
Yeah, right. So, so what were you saying earlier about Trump to me?
Well, this is the third of the three stories, the election itself.
Yeah.
Very often, people nowadays will ask political candidates where they stand on the UAP issue and, if elected, what they intend to do. The question of UFOs has come up 2 or 3 times previously with President Trump.
That's right.
And his son raised it in a podcast, and Trump talked about Roswell. He talked about Area 51. He said that he knew a few things, but would have to be very careful about what he disclosed. Tucker Carlson asked him about it in an interview, and it came up again more recently. So Trump is on the record on this.
Right. Yeah.
And he's dropped a few hints, so we'll have to see. Harris, as far as I know, has not even been asked about it. If she has, she's certainly not given any meaningful answer.
Okay, so what do you propose then from Trump that he might know, that considering obviously he would have been watching the congressional hearings quite closely then, and I didn't realize that his son was in them into the UFO phenomena.
Well, firstly, of course, Trump has been president before, so
so obviously,
if you believe that presidents and only presidents get the briefing, then Trump already knows.
Well, all of the presidents have been very, very interested, haven't they?
Yeah, they drop hints, and lest we get too party political, it's something Republicans and Democrats have dropped hints about. I remember Obama was interviewed by Will Smith and did a kind of some dropping of hints and things. Bill Clinton.
Yeah, right. And his wife,
But look, here's the thing. Trump is different. Trump is a maverick and a populist in a way that no other previous president has been.
Right. Yeah.
So if you believe in the deep state, and if you believe in a decades-long conspiracy, Trump is precisely the candidate who might just blow this wide open in a way that nobody else could or would.
No, I agree, actually. Yeah, totally. I mean,
I don't know how it's going to unfold, but obviously he's made some statements on it. He's made some statements on the assassination of JFK. In his first term, he said he would release some of those records. Then he walked back just at the very end, releasing all of them. But now, in a recent interview, he said, you know what, I'll release all the JFK things. And he did this wonderful quote. He was talking about UFOs, but as always, he has quite a line in comedy. He said something like, I've been briefed on this by US military pilots. He said, taller ones than Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah, inch eye, private eye, little Tom Cruise. Oh, bless him. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we'll have to see, assuming he's elected, we'll have to see what Trump does in his second term. We'll have to see who he appoints as SecDef and as DNI, Director of National Intelligence.
Okay.
But irrespective of those appointments, Trump is Trump. He could just decide, you know what, the heck, I'll put it out there.
I hope he does. I hope he does. I mean, I'm just kicking the cat away a minute. Everyone's using the word, but it's so true. Massive awakening right now, and people are just thinking, you know what, we all have a right to know. And people just, I think when you've got so much in your head that you know, and he is a loose cannon, like you say, he's capable of absolutely bloody anything, and it'll work it all in our favor for everyone that wants disclosure. As much as we might hate him or not hate him, I kind of like him, because he's a good troublemaker in a way. I mean, we've all made mistakes, and he's made mistakes, but he's a good troublemaker.
Well, people in terms of politics, people often use and politicians, people use the phrase disruptive, not like an unruly troublemaker, but in terms of somebody who's going to not go along with the status quo. I mean, can you imagine some career bureaucrat briefing President Trump and then saying, well, now, Mr. President, of course, we really shouldn't be releasing this information to the public. Trump will just turn to that person, give them a withering look and say,
yeah, right,
I'm going to do what I like.
Yeah, right. I hope he does. I really, truly hope he does. Right. So, okay, I call it, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. It's not politics, but it begins with the letter B instead. But off that subject for now, then this year, where have you been, and obviously we all know that you've been doing the Ancient Aliens. What else have you been doing? And I know that you've been to Skinwalker Ranch. That must have been very interesting.
Oh, yes, that was.
Now. How you said that. Okay, then. Come on.
Well,
Did you get flown in by Brandon?
No, the state of Utah does an event called Phenomicon.
Okay.
And they recognize the tourist value that Skinwalker Ranch has, and they recognize the national and international interest in UFOs and the paranormal. So for the last few years, they've been organizing this thing called Phenomicon.
It's funny because Utah is heavily Mormon, but yet you have the spiritual side to it. So it's got the diversity, hasn't it?
Well, you have the Native Americans, of course.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean, the spiritual side to it.
Yeah, tribes like the Navajo and the Utes. I mean, of course, the Utes. That's where Utah gets its name. Yeah. So now, and a Skinwalker.
And also, it's the bee state. It's the national bee state, isn't it?
Right. Yes, but in Native American mythology, a Skinwalker is a malevolent witch that can shapeshift and can put dark spells on people. So the state of Utah have recognized the interest in this, organized Phenomicon. My schedule previously didn't work out, but this year it did.
Okay, lovely.
I had some free time. And then Travis Taylor said to me, and Travis, of course, is one of the big names at this event. Travis, well, look, you're coming. William Henry from
I'm a top fan of him.
Yeah, and we've toured together, of course, for a while. Travis, before his commitments at the ranch really ruled it out, Travis toured with us on Ancient Aliens Live, and he now has there is a live show now, Skinwalker Ranch Live. Anyway, long story short, Travis said to William Henry and myself, well, let's get you to the ranch. William had been there before for an episode of Ancient Aliens. I hadn't been. And so I said, yeah, of course, let's make it happen. Now, because of our respective schedules, we really only had a tiny window to actually do this. But one afternoon, I think after one of my talks, before one of Travis's, in between two of William's, however it panned out, we just piled into a vehicle, drove out there. Absolutely amazing. One of the other people who just happened to be there at the same time. Well, he didn't just happen to be. I mean, he was speaking to Jay Stratton. Now, Jay, people in relation to the U.S. government's UFO research and investigation, everyone knows names like Luis Elizondo from ATIP, David Grush, but Jay Stratton was the former director of the UAP task force, so somebody who sat at very high level in the US intelligence community. And he was one of the speakers at Phenomicon. He was at Skinwalker Ranch at the same time as myself and Travis and William Henry. So that was an interesting experience. I'd met Jay twice before, I think. In fact, bizarrely.
Nick, was that the event that Micah Hanks came to and Travis and Micah and all those guys jammed on the stage, played music?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Not make this up. I mean, but yeah, absolutely. They have a band called Hitchhiker.
Travis plays, doesn't he? That's right. Yeah, he plays guitar. Yeah.
No, and sings. But Hitchhiker, of course, named after the effect by which people believe that
attachments
attaches and comes home with you.
Yeah.
So the surreality, and thanks, Race, for asking that, but how surreal is it to be in this hall, 1,000 people at the end of the conference, and out on stage comes the former director of the UAP task force, the former chief scientist of the UAP task force, and they start doing all these AC/DC songs and other things. It's just, you couldn't make it up.
Well, it adds character, doesn't it? And and it actually just shows that he's just, he's just a wonderful person, I think. Considering he went in not knowing and experienced the first time that he was there. So Nick, cut to the chase. Did you experience anything there?
I did not. And so far,
you can neither confirm or deny. Is that your answer?
No, nothing so far. And if any hitchhikers attach themselves, they have yet to manifest. So
so you had So how far around Skinwalkers did you go then? Did you go in the truck and just go around to all of the areas?
Yeah, we went around. We went to Homestead 2. We went up the Mesa. We went to the Triangle. Obviously it was a short visit, but when Travis is your guide, you get all the spots. Now, it's about 550 acres there, and they're doing some amazing things.
Yeah, I know they are. So so this is sort of like the yin tong thing. Spiritually, nothing, you didn't feel anything at all?
No, but that's the thing. People say that it affects different people in different ways. Sometimes I've heard it said that the people who get the hitchhikers and the attachments are the ones who go in very aggressive and say, I don't believe any of this, bring it on. Because
right. Well, it's an intention that anything's going to draw in, isn't it, then at that point?
Yeah, but who knows? Look, the whole point about the paranormal is it doesn't play by the standard rules. So all I can tell you is that I didn't experience anything, but plenty of people who I trust implicitly have had real, profound, deep, shocking experiences there.
Can you say?
No, I can't because I'm not sure
if they've gone public with it.
Who's gone public and who hasn't, and I would hate to break a confidence with them.
Of course. Okay, all right, okay. So we'll just have to wait and see and watch on Skinwalker's Ranch, won't we? The TV show. Oh, wow. Okay, I was half hoping that something would have happened to you. This sort of like, anything.
Well, anyway. Look, I'm sure it won't be my last visit there. No. So if I go back, who knows what will happen next time? Maybe you go once and nothing happens, and then you get all kind of blasé and next thing, bang.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Walking swag with a bit of swagger, and then, yeah. Okay. So, like I said at the very beginning, obviously, like, we're at the end of a year nearly. Good God, I don't know where this year's absolutely gone. But what else? What have you sort of like has blown you away in this year? As in, because obviously you're a bag of knowledge. You deal with, you know, the military. You deal with experiences. You deal with, you know, scientists. Everything. What has really blown you away this year? That you just think, oh my God, really? You know, as in how people have, you know, stepped forward, or people's not encounters as such, but, you know, just as in what has made you thinking really we are like getting somewhere now?
I think a couple of things occur to me. Firstly, I know that people like Gary Nolan at the Soul Foundation have been doing a lot of really superb work, organized one conference. There's another one in November. And I know people like Carl Nell have spoken there, and I'm sure Carl will be at the November one as well. So this is again really important. Top level people, scientists, retired military, intelligence community people speaking out about this. Because, you know, when Lou Elizondo was featured in the New York Times in December 2017, wrote the story about ATIP, I think, you know, there were people who said, well, there's this one guy, he's a whistleblower, you know, do we know he is who he says he is, did what he said he did? Well, we do. But there's still this sense that it's just one person. Well, now we've got Carl Nell. Now we've got David Grush. Now we've got Sarah Gam. Now we've got
Ryan.
Ryan Graves and Dave Fredmore, of course, absolutely. Ryan, of course, runs, amongst other things, Americans for Safe Aerospace. Lobby group doing a lot of great work with Congress to highlight the safety of flight implications of UAP. So that's something that's caught my eye. Something else which has caught my eye is of course, the continued work that Professor Avi Loeb is doing, professor of astrophysics at Harvard University. A few years ago, it would be inconceivable for top-level scientists even speaking about this, let alone actively working on it. Well, now we've got people like Avi Loeb, Michio Kaku, a number of other people. I'm not a scientist, but I am formally attached to Galileo Project as I think we called it affiliates. I think it used to be a research affiliate, but people like Chris Mellon, Lou Elizondo, and myself, not scientists, but people whose backgrounds enable us to maybe contribute to the science team and what the science team are doing. So that's something. Another thing that's happening is, and of course this is something everyone's talking about, artificial intelligence. One of the things AI is doing is it's going back over vast amounts of radio data gathered by the SETI Institute. And some people believe that AI has identified a number of potential so-called candidate signals, i.e. a signal as opposed to just the background noise of the universe, that are artificial in origin, that humans and basic computers looking at this missed. But AI, with its ability to almost instantaneously assess and evaluate countless terabytes or whatever it's called of data. So that's something. And the ongoing rumors that James Webb Space Telescope has found something, maybe a techno signature. There have been rumors almost all year that there's a scientific paper being written up suggesting strong evidence of a techno signature. And by a techno signature, I don't mean something that you might say, well, is it biological or is it geological? Something that, for example, like CFCs. CFCs can only be produced in an industrial civilization that's putting pollutants into the atmosphere, because there's not a natural way to do it. So something like that. Has something been found? I don't know, but these rumors have been around all year, and who knows what's going to happen by the end of the year.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to David Grush, and I'll go back to Ryan then, Graves. So with like Ryan's experiences, where I know that they can't divulge too much information, and yet there's like experiences, you know, being very open heart and saying about our experiences. Why, where at what point is there going to be, you know, I'll always say this, that the government are going to be speaking to the experiences?
I had this conversation with Whitley Strieber fairly recently, and I said to him, I used the phrase, I said, Whitley, I think at the moment it's a bridge too far.
Okay.
I said, these retired government, military, and intelligence community people, they're happy to talk about satellites. They're happy to talk about forward-looking infrared cameras. They're happy to talk about pilots seeing and chasing UFOs. And
well, I only say that because you're saying about that, you know, picking up a signal, but it's like, hang on a minute, you know, it's like when you've got a craft in front of you and it's letting off a frequency, or it's telling you to go outside and you're communicating with it, you know, it's like, hang on, why aren't these people speaking to, you know, to us?
Because it's still, it's like the third rail. It's okay to talk about UAP when you describe it in terms of being a defense and national security issue, because you've always got that get out clause. You can say, well, maybe it's China or Russia, or maybe it's something else, but we need to look at it. What Congress and what people like Ryan Graves and others are not prepared to do it at the moment, as far as I know, is say, let's discuss people who believe that they've been abducted by aliens and or that they're receiving telepathic messages or channel. It's just, they can't go there. The stigma has gone down, but it's not disappeared. And no one in Congress can yet quite do that. Okay. Maybe in a year or two's time, we'll be in that environment, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, I kind of in my...
I get that. It's hugely frustrating and disappointing, because in a sense, those people know the data and they're just self-censoring. I'm sure they know all about these stories, but they're not going to get up and say it.
Well, they're not stories, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? They're not going to get up and say it, talk about it on the floor of Congress.
Well, no, because they get it on open podcasts or listening in, or by, you know, by viewing in on you.
Yeah, they're getting the information, but they're not going to put the information out themselves, because you can imagine someone like Senator Marco Rubio, and we've all seen him stand up in front of the news cameras and say, we need to get to the bottom of the UAP mystery, because this could be adversarial technology, and there are speeds, maneuvers, and accelerations, orders of magnitude above anything we can do. We need to find out, is it China, is it Russia, is it something else? And you see, right at the end of that little interview, he went, or is it something else?
Yeah, right, exactly.
They can do that. What Rubio is not going to do, at least not this year, probably not next, is going to say, you know, I've been listening to some of the accounts from people who say that they've been abducted by aliens. Now, they will probably never even use that phrase. They will dress it up. They will invent new terminology, pardon me.
Yeah,
and in fact, they've done. One of the 38 technical studies done under the ORSAT contract was entitled Human Interface.
Okay.
Well, come on, read between the lines.
Yeah.
What that is,
Yeah.
But they're not going to use phrases like abduction. They're not going to use phrases like contactee. So watch out for phrases like human interface with UAP or human effects. That's about as close as they're getting to it right now.
Well, it's funny because I was next week I've got Steve Aspen on, very good friend of ours, that that when we were both at Leeds, where we spoke at Leeds, wasn't it? I spoke with Steve today, and he's on next week. But we were talking, well, he was talking about no one's really talking about scoop marks anymore. They're talking about obviously implants and various things. And Steve, in his book Out of Time, he had it analysed, his scoop mark, and I'd never thought about that, because obviously that I've got a scoop mark, and I never thought about having it analysed. But are these military that are having these experiences? Because obviously we're just saying that they're citing reports and what we get to hear. Obviously, as we know, Robert Salas, obviously he's had contact with beings, and he was in the Navy. So
Air Force, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because it was at the nuclear base, wasn't it?
It was at Maelstrom Air
Yeah.
Force Base, yeah, with missile silos.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. So what was I going to say? So back in the room, Bate. As in, has anything ever come out in any document that they have taken analysis of scoop marks, implants, or anything? Or is that what they talked about in their secret room?
If you read that paper about human effects and human interface, and if you read between the lines, it's in there. Look at Rendlesham Forest. It's very well known that some of the witnesses met with certain US intelligence community personnel involved with all of this. And I said to one of those witnesses, I said, look, they're going to ask you for a blood sample and a DNA sample, and they can do a lot with that. I said, if you want to give that to them, fine, but don't get tricked into it. So I said, if they offer you a cup of coffee,
don't take it.
You take the cup out with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Or a cigarette outside, just take the butt with you. Yeah, right.
So that I had that conversation. So
which one from Rendlesham?
I'm not sure that I should say, because again, I don't know.
Oh, you're so boring tonight. Okay, that's for the conversation later then. No, I'm joking. Okay, all right. So well, okay. So when is this paper coming out?
Oh, it's out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Go on to John Greenwald's Black Vault website. It's on there. But heck, it's in the Defense Intelligence Agency electronic reading room. All 38 of those Defense Intelligence research documents, they're called DIRs. Yeah. All 38 are out there. Watch for the one. I can't remember the title offhand, but you'll know it when you see it. It's Human Effects. And read between the lines, given the questions you've just asked me.
Yeah. I just find it really, well, I personally, I think, because obviously this year, I think so much has happened, from having, whether it be like other experiences, and I know that other experiences are still having experiences, it's kind of speeding up. And you've kind of said it a few times tonight, in the next couple of years, I foresee like in the next 5 years, it's going to be a massive, something very, very different in the next 5 years.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Feel it brewing. I feel it brewing. Everyone feels it brewing, but I give it like 5 years of massive changes, and it's a grand like shake up for everybody, every bloody body.
Well, if you think of what's happened in the last 5 years, if you think if you think of what a watershed December 2017, with the revelations about the US Navy videos, then
Yeah, I'm just, I think we've only got a few minutes left. I'm not, I think it's, yeah, we've got about a couple of minutes left. Right. So Nick, thank you very, very much. Is there anything that you want to talk about? Ancient alien tours that are coming up. Everyone can go on live. Do you want to plug? I will plug your, I'll put a link to, I have put a link to your website, and I don't think you upload anything new really on there. But what would you like to plug?
My X, formerly known as Twitter, which that's where I put new stories up. So that's at Nick Pope MOD.
That's right.
And of course, the Ancient Aliens Live-tour.com.
Okay. And what's your future projects very quickly?
Classified. I'm not joking, but I've got
hey, this is where I'd say the F off.
Yeah.
I'm so not allowed to say that anymore. Brace has told me.
Got a couple of big things coming out. We'll talk about that another time.
Okay,
but,
all right. Okay.
Watch what I announce on X in the next few weeks.
No, I don't do Twitter. I don't do Twitter at all. But obviously, is it really all going on Twitter? Is it
all going on?
Is it all going on Twitter until the computers go down? Computer says no. Then we're all buggered. Then it has to be telepathy. We have to learn. Okay, I don't know how long we've got. Is Race Hobbs there? Race, Mork calling Orson, coming Orson. There he goes. There he's on it.
Yeah,
Race,
it's time to wrap. Definitely.
All right then. Okay, my lovely. All right, listen. Thank you ever so much, guys, for listening in, and thank you, Nick, for coming back for part 2. Check out Nick on the Ancient Alien Tour, and thank you, Nick, and speak to you in part 3 very, very soon. All right. Love and light to you as always, Nick.
Thank you.
All right, sweetheart. Bye, 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 bye.